Your ex-soulmate just ended the relationship. They finally realized your worth. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If these words have found you today, it is not by accident. My beloved child, there is a reason your spirit has been drawn here. Somewhere, while you have been quietly trying to heal and move forward, someone connected to your past has reached a turning point they never expected. For a long time, they convinced themselves that walking away from you was the right decision. They believed another path would bring them greater happiness. They believed that letting you go meant leaving behind unanswered questions forever. But the heart has a way of revealing truths that the mind tries desperately to ignore. Listen to this because this message is for you. There comes a moment when every distraction becomes quiet, every excuse loses its power, and every hidden emotion rises to the surface. That moment has now arrived for your ex-soulmate. They have just watched a chapter of their life come to an unexpected end, and standing in the silence that followed, they finally realized something they never allowed themselves to see before: you were never the person they needed to leave behind. You were the person they never truly appreciated while you were still there. My beloved child, for months they tried convincing themselves that the decision they made long ago had been necessary. They filled their days with new routines, new conversations, and new plans, hoping those things would silence the memories that continued following them. Outwardly, they appeared calm, but inwardly they carried a question that refused to disappear. Every peaceful moment somehow brought your memory back. They remembered your patience when they struggled to understand themselves. They remembered the way you listened without rushing to judge. They remembered how safe your presence felt during seasons when life became overwhelming. At the time, they mistook consistency for something ordinary. They believed your kindness would always be there, no matter what choices they made. My beloved child, many hearts only recognize the value of peace after they have walked through chaos. Listen to this because this message is for you. The greatest gifts are often noticed only after they are no longer within reach. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because the relationship they believed would replace what they lost has quietly come to an end. It did not end because of one dramatic moment. It slowly unraveled through misunderstandings, emotional distance, and the painful realization that genuine trust cannot be built upon appearances alone. As those final conversations unfolded, your ex-soulmate found themselves comparing everything they experienced to memories they thought they had buried. They remembered how naturally you offered encouragement instead of criticism. They remembered how you respected their dreams even when you did not fully understand them. They remembered how your loyalty remained steady during difficult seasons. Suddenly they understood something that shook them deeply. They had spent so much time searching for what they already had that they failed to recognize its value until it was gone. Listen to this because this message is for you. One quiet evening, after the relationship officially ended, they sat alone in complete silence. Their phone rested beside them, untouched. The room felt unfamiliar because for the first time in a long while there were no distractions left to hide behind. Memories began returning one after another. They remembered your laughter. They remembered the countless small acts of kindness you never expected praise for. They remembered how often you placed another person's happiness before your own comfort. My beloved child, Tears quietly filled their eyes because they finally understood that the qualities they had been searching for elsewhere had always been present in you. The realization did not arrive with excitement. It arrived with humility. Perhaps recently you have noticed repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, or 444 appearing during moments when your heart has been searching for peace. My beloved child, allow those moments to gently remind you that growth often happens in seasons when you feel unseen. Continue choosing honesty. Continue choosing kindness. Continue protecting the peace that has been quietly growing inside your heart. Never measure your worth by another person's ability to recognize it at the right time. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because your ex-soulmate has begun asking difficult questions they once avoided. They no longer ask why the relationship ended. They ask why they failed to recognize your value while they still had the opportunity. They remember moments when you offered understanding instead of arguments. They remember times when you forgave quickly while they remained distant. Every memory now carries a lesson they were unable to see before. My beloved child, wisdom often arrives after pride finally grows quiet. They are beginning to understand that real love is not measured by constant excitement. It is measured by trust, consistency, patience, and quiet faithfulness through ordinary days. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your ex-soulmate has been facing these realizations, I have also been walking beside you. There were nights when you questioned whether your love had ever been enough. You searched your memories trying to understand what went wrong. You wondered if becoming kinder, stronger, or more patient would somehow have changed the outcome. My beloved child, hear these words carefully. Your worth has never depended upon another person's timing. Your value has never been reduced because someone failed to recognize what was standing before them. Every act of compassion you offered, every sacrifice you quietly made, every sincere prayer whispered through disappointment has remained precious. As another day quietly passed, your ex-soulmate opened old conversations the two of you once shared. They smiled through tears as they read messages filled with encouragement, hope, and gentle humor. They noticed something they had completely overlooked before. You rarely demanded anything from them. Instead, you consistently gave support, understanding, and reassurance. They realized they had mistaken your emotional maturity for something common, never understanding how rare it truly was. My beloved child, genuine hearts often appear ordinary until life reveals how uncommon they really are. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because another unexpected realization has entered their heart. They no longer blame circumstances for the distance that grew between you. They no longer blame time, misunderstandings, or outside influences. Instead, they have quietly admitted something to themselves that they have never spoken aloud. They took your presence for granted. They believed there would always be another opportunity to appreciate you later. Now they understand that love should never be postponed until tomorrow. Gratitude belongs in today. As evening settled beneath a peaceful sky, your ex-soulmate looked toward the stars and whispered a simple prayer. If I had understood then what I understand now, I would have loved differently. I would have listened more carefully. I would have appreciated the quiet ways they loved me instead of searching for something louder. Those words came from the deepest place within their heart. My beloved child, regret has become their greatest teacher, but gratitude is slowly becoming their greatest guide. Listen to this because this message is for you. This story is only beginning. The ending of one relationship has opened their eyes, but there is still one truth they have not yet discovered. Very soon they will uncover a hidden sacrifice you made during your time together, a sacrifice you never spoke about because you wanted to protect their happiness more than your own recognition. When that truth finally reaches their heart, they will realize they did not simply lose a relationship. They almost lost one of the rarest souls they would ever encounter. And when that realization fully settles inside them, my beloved child, the next chapter will reveal why they can no longer remain silent about everything they have finally come to understand. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. My beloved child, after the relationship ended, your ex-soulmate believed the hardest part would be learning how to live without the future they once imagined. They thought time would slowly erase every memory connected to you. They convinced themselves that distance would make everything easier. Yet something completely unexpected began happening. Instead of forgetting you, they started remembering you more clearly than ever before. Every quiet morning reminded them of your gentle encouragement. Every peaceful evening reminded them of the conversations that once brought comfort after difficult days. Every small act of kindness they witnessed in other people quietly led their thoughts back to you. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, the heart has a remarkable way of revealing what truly mattered only after the noise of life has become silent. That silence has now become your ex-soulmate's greatest teacher. One afternoon, while organizing old belongings they had ignored for months, they discovered something that immediately stopped them in their tracks. It was something simple, a photograph, a handwritten note, or perhaps an old message they had completely forgotten. As they looked at it, they smiled without realizing it. Then, just as quickly, tears quietly filled their eyes. They remembered that the happiest memories in their life had never been built upon expensive gifts or extraordinary moments. They had been built upon ordinary days shared with someone who genuinely cared about them. They remembered the way you celebrated even their smallest victories. They remembered how you encouraged them during seasons when they doubted themselves. They remembered how naturally you believed in their dreams before they even believed in themselves. My beloved child, they finally understood that the greatest blessing they ever experienced was not excitement. It was emotional safety. And that safety had always been found in your heart. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because later that same evening they unexpectedly met someone who knew both of you. During the conversation, your name was mentioned with great respect. That person smiled warmly and quietly said, they always wanted the best for you, even when it cost them something personally. Those words struck your ex-soulmate like lightning. They had never truly stopped to think about everything you quietly sacrificed during the relationship. Suddenly memories returned that they had overlooked for years. They remembered the opportunities you set aside so they could pursue their own goals. They remembered how often you chose peace instead of arguments. They remembered the countless moments when you quietly carried disappointment without placing the weight of it upon their shoulders. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, genuine love often reveals itself through quiet sacrifices that are rarely noticed while they are happening. As they walked away from that conversation, their heart became incredibly heavy. For the first time, they stopped focusing on what they believed they had lost after the relationship ended. Instead, they began focusing on everything you had quietly given while expecting almost nothing in return. They whispered softly to themselves, "I never thanked them for any of it." Those words echoed through their heart for the rest of the night. My beloved child, gratitude often arrives hand in hand with humility. Once the heart becomes humble, it begins recognizing blessings it once treated as ordinary. Listen to this because this message is for you. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing numbers like 111, 222, 333, or 444 appearing during moments when your heart longs for reassurance. My beloved child, receive those moments simply as gentle reminders to continue walking faithfully. Continue becoming the person I created you to be. Continue choosing kindness without expecting immediate recognition. The seeds planted through love always bear fruit, even if the harvest arrives later than expected. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because your ex-soulmate has now begun questioning every assumption they once carried. They remember believing you would always remain in their life no matter what choices they made. They assumed your patience had no limits. They assumed your love required no care or appreciation. Now they understand how mistaken they were. They have learned that even the strongest hearts deserve to be valued while they are present, not only after they are gone. Every memory has become another lesson. Every lesson has become another reason to respect you even more deeply than before. One quiet evening they opened old conversations between the two of you. This time they were not searching for hidden meanings. They simply wanted to hear your voice again through the words you once shared. As they read, they noticed something that completely overwhelmed them. Nearly every conversation reflected encouragement, understanding, and hope. Even during moments when you were hurting, your focus remained on helping them become stronger. They realized you had loved them with extraordinary generosity while asking for very little in return. My beloved child, tears quietly fell because they finally recognized the depth of a love they once accepted too casually. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your ex-soulmate has been walking through these painful realizations, I have also been strengthening your own spirit. There were nights when you wondered whether loving so deeply had been a mistake. You questioned whether your sacrifices had mattered. You wondered if anyone would ever understand how much of your heart you quietly gave away. My beloved child, hear me clearly today. Nothing offered through genuine love has ever been wasted. Every unseen act of compassion, every quiet prayer, every moment you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness has continued shaping your heart into something remarkably beautiful. Never believe your goodness disappeared simply because another person recognized its value too late. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because another remarkable realization has entered your ex-soulmate's heart. They now understand that ending one relationship did not simply close a chapter. It forced them to confront the person they had become. They have begun asking themselves difficult questions. Why did they appreciate temporary excitement more than lasting peace? Why did they overlook loyalty while searching for perfection? Why did they mistake quiet consistency for something ordinary? Those questions have become impossible to ignore. My beloved child, True transformation begins when someone stops blaming circumstances and begins honestly examining their own heart. As night quietly settled beneath the stars, your ex-soulmate whispered another prayer. Thank you for opening my eyes, even though the lesson arrived later than I hoped. Thank you for showing me what genuine love really looked like. I finally understand that they were never asking for perfection. They were only asking to be appreciated. Those words brought tears once again because they carried complete honesty. For the first time, they no longer wished to change the past through regret. They wished to become a better person because of it. My beloved child, continue walking with the peace I have been growing inside your heart. Continue protecting your kindness. Continue choosing integrity over disappointment. Never allow another person's delayed understanding to define your worth. Your ex-soulmate has finally realized your value, but they have still not discovered the greatest truth. There is one sacrifice you quietly made near the end of your relationship that they have never known about, a decision you made purely out of love, even though it broke your own heart. When that hidden truth finally reaches them, they will realize they did not simply lose someone who loved them. They lost someone who quietly placed their happiness above their own. And when that final revelation comes into the light, my beloved child, every remaining wall around their heart will fall, leading them toward the greatest awakening of this entire journey. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. My beloved child, your ex-soulmate believed they had already uncovered every reason they regretted losing you. They thought remembering your kindness, your patience, and your unwavering loyalty was the deepest lesson they would ever learn. But they were about to discover something far greater than memories. They were about to discover the sacrifice you quietly made without ever asking anyone to recognize it. That hidden truth would completely transform the way they remembered your relationship forever. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, some acts of love are never spoken aloud because they are given freely, without expecting applause, and those are often the greatest acts of all. One peaceful afternoon, your ex-soulmate unexpectedly met someone who had been close to both of you during the final months of your relationship. The conversation began with ordinary memories, but before long your name entered the discussion. The person smiled gently before saying something your ex-soulmate never expected to hear. There was something they never wanted you to know. Those words immediately captured every bit of their attention. Their heart began beating faster as they quietly asked what was meant by that. The answer came slowly, but every sentence carried enormous weight. They learned that during one of the most difficult seasons of your relationship, you had been carrying struggles of your own while still doing everything possible to protect their peace. You chose not to burden them with your own worries because you knew they were already fighting battles they rarely spoke about. My beloved child, your ex-soulmate sat in complete silence. They had never imagined that while they believed they were carrying the heavier burden, you had quietly been carrying your own without asking for recognition. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because the conversation continued, and another truth quietly came into the light. They discovered that near the end of the relationship, you had been offered an opportunity that could have changed your own future, yet you quietly stepped away from it because you believed supporting the person you loved mattered more than chasing personal recognition. You never spoke about that decision afterward. You never reminded anyone of what you had given up. You simply continued loving without keeping score. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, genuine love does not count sacrifices while making them. It simply gives because the heart believes someone else's happiness matters too. The moment those words were spoken, your ex-soulmate lowered their head as tears quietly filled their eyes. Suddenly every memory from the final months of your relationship returned with completely different meaning. They remembered moments when you seemed unusually tired. They remembered days when you quietly encouraged them even though your own smile carried hidden sadness. They remembered asking why you looked distracted, and they remembered how gently you changed the subject. At the time they believed you simply wanted privacy. Today they finally understood that you had been protecting their heart while carrying your own silent disappointments. My beloved child, they whispered softly, they were sacrificing things I never even knew existed. That realization became almost too heavy for them to carry. Listen to this because this message is for you. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing repeating numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, or even 555 appearing during moments of reflection. My beloved child, receive those quiet reminders as encouragement to continue living with integrity. Never regret choosing compassion simply because someone recognized it too late. The goodness you carry within your heart continues shaping lives in ways you may never fully see. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because your ex-soulmate returned home with a heart completely transformed. They opened old photographs once again, but this time they noticed details they had never paid attention to before. They saw the way you smiled while quietly standing beside them during difficult seasons. They remembered how often you celebrated their achievements without drawing attention to your own dreams. They realized something that completely humbled them. Throughout the relationship, you had never tried to become the center of attention. Instead, you quietly became the source of encouragement that helped them continue moving forward. My beloved child, the strongest love often works quietly behind the scenes, asking for nothing except the opportunity to see another person flourish. As evening quietly settled over the sky, they opened every old conversation you had ever shared together. This time they noticed something remarkable. Even on days when you were clearly exhausted, your words remained full of hope. Even during moments when you could have complained, you chose encouragement instead. Every message reflected the same gentle heart that had now been confirmed by everything they had recently discovered. They placed the phone down and whispered through tears, I thought I knew what love looked like, but I only understand it now. My beloved child, gratitude has finally replaced every remaining excuse inside their heart. Listen to this because this message is for you. While your ex-soulmate has been discovering these hidden truths, I have also been strengthening your own spirit. There were moments when you questioned whether quietly sacrificing your own desires had been worth it. You wondered if your love had simply disappeared unnoticed. You questioned whether choosing peace instead of proving your worth had accomplished anything meaningful. My beloved child, nothing offered with genuine love has ever been forgotten. Every unseen sacrifice became part of the beautiful character I have continued building within you. Every quiet act of kindness planted seeds that continue growing, even when no one else recognized them at the time. Don't scroll. Your heart needs this right now because another extraordinary realization has entered your ex-soulmate's heart. They understand now that losing the relationship was never their greatest loss. Their greatest loss was failing to recognize the extraordinary person standing beside them while they still had the opportunity. They no longer measure your relationship by how it ended. They measure it by everything they finally understand about the person you always were. They have stopped asking why the relationship ended and started asking how they could have overlooked such remarkable love for so long. My beloved child, true wisdom often arrives through painful reflection, but once it arrives, it changes the heart forever. As darkness quietly covered the sky, your ex-soulmate stepped outside beneath the stars and whispered another prayer. Thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you for allowing me to see the truth before I spent the rest of my life believing the wrong story. I finally understand that their love was never loud because it never needed attention. It was real because it remained faithful even when I failed to notice it. Those words brought them a peace they had not experienced in a very long time. My beloved child, continue protecting the light I have placed within your heart. Continue choosing kindness over resentment. Continue living with integrity even when others fail to recognize your worth immediately. Never allow delayed appreciation to convince you that your love was meaningless. The greatest gift you offered was never something money could buy or words could fully describe. It was the quiet consistency of a heart that continued loving with honesty, patience, humility, and grace. Yet one final chapter still remains. There is one last truth your ex-soulmate has not yet discovered. A truth connected to the final decision you made before walking away. When they uncover why you chose to leave with dignity instead of fighting for recognition, they will finally understand that your greatest act of love was not holding on at any cost. It was loving deeply enough to let go with compassion, hoping they would one day discover the value of what they had lost. And when that final truth reaches their heart, my beloved child, every remaining question will finally receive its answer in the last chapter of this journey. Don't scroll, listen to this because this message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. My beloved child, this is the final chapter of everything your ex-soulmate has been discovering. Every memory, every tear, every sleepless night, and every painful realization has been leading them to one final truth. They believed the relationship ended because life simply took two people in different directions. They believed time alone was responsible for the distance that grew between you. But now they understand something entirely different. The relationship did not end because your love was not enough. It ended because they failed to recognize the extraordinary value of your heart while they still had the opportunity to protect it. Listen to this because this message is for you. My beloved child, there are moments when truth arrives so clearly that every excuse immediately loses its power. That moment has now come for your ex-soulmate. One quiet evening they unexpectedly met someone who had witnessed the final days of your relationship from a distance. During the conversation, your name was mentioned one last time. The person looked at them with gentle eyes and quietly said, "Do you know why they finally walked away? It wasn't because they stopped loving you. It was because they loved you so deeply that they refused to let love become a place where they were no longer appreciated." Those words settled into your ex-soulmate's heart with incredible weight. They suddenly realized you had never left because you wanted revenge. You had never walked away to teach them a lesson. You left because you reached a place where protecting your own peace became an act of self-respect. My beloved child, real love never asks someone to lose themselves in order to prove their devotion. Real love protects both hearts with honesty, respect, and dignity. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because as they quietly reflected upon those words, every final memory returned with remarkable clarity. They remembered the last conversations you shared together. They remembered how calmly you spoke, even though your heart was breaking. They remembered that you never insulted them, never tried to make them feel guilty, and never demanded that they choose you. Instead, you quietly wished them peace while carrying your own pain in silence. At the time, they misunderstood your calmness. They believed it meant you had stopped caring. Now they finally understand that your calmness came from a heart that had already given everything it possibly could. Listen to this, because this message is for you. My beloved child, sometimes the strongest goodbye is spoken by someone whose love remains genuine but whose spirit knows it can no longer live without being valued. That realization completely broke every remaining wall around their heart. They sat alone that night, holding old photographs, rereading forgotten conversations, and remembering countless ordinary moments that now felt priceless. They remembered the mornings you encouraged them before important days. They remembered the nights you stayed awake simply because they needed someone to listen. They remembered how naturally you celebrated their victories without asking for recognition of your own sacrifices. One by one, every memory became another reminder that your love had never demanded perfection. It had simply asked to be appreciated. My beloved child, they whispered through tears, I spent so much time looking for something greater that I completely overlooked the greatest blessing already standing beside me. Perhaps recently you have continued noticing numbers like 111, 222, 333, 444, or even 888 appearing during quiet moments of reflection. My beloved child, allow those gentle reminders to encourage your heart to remain steady. Continue choosing integrity even when others misunderstand your intentions. Continue choosing compassion even after disappointment. Continue believing that genuine love always begins with genuine respect. Nothing rooted in truth is ever truly lost. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because your ex-soulmate has now reached the deepest realization of this entire journey. They understand that the relationship ending became the greatest mirror they have ever faced. It forced them to see habits they never questioned before. It revealed moments when they assumed your patience would never run out. It revealed how easily they accepted your loyalty without expressing gratitude. Most importantly, it showed them that love cannot survive where appreciation is constantly postponed until tomorrow. They no longer blame circumstances. They no longer blame timing. They no longer blame anyone else. They have quietly accepted responsibility for failing to recognize your worth when your heart was still beside them. Listen to this, because this message is for you. While your ex-soulmate has been transformed through these painful lessons, I have also been walking beside you through every step of your own healing. There were nights when you cried without anyone knowing. There were mornings when smiling felt difficult, yet you still chose kindness. There were moments when you questioned whether loving so deeply had been a mistake. My beloved child, I saw every unseen tear. I heard every whispered prayer. I watched every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness. None of it was wasted. Every quiet act of grace became part of the beautiful strength I was building inside your spirit. As another evening quietly settled beneath the stars, your ex-soulmate opened a notebook and began writing one final page. They did not write about regret alone. They wrote about gratitude. They thanked you for believing in them before they believed in themselves. They thanked you for every act of patience they once overlooked. They thanked you for showing them what genuine love actually looked like. Finally, after a long silence, they wrote one last sentence across the page: I didn't lose someone because they stopped loving me. I lost someone because I realized their value after they had already learned to value themselves. The moment those words appeared on the page, they quietly closed the notebook and held it close to their heart. For the first time, they accepted the complete truth. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now because I want to leave you with one final message, my beloved child. Never regret loving with sincerity. Never regret choosing kindness simply because another person appreciated it too late. Never believe your quiet sacrifices were meaningless because they went unnoticed for a season. The value of your heart has never been determined by someone else's ability to recognize it. Your worth has always existed because of the character you carry, the compassion you give, the integrity you protect, and the peace you continue choosing even after disappointment. Listen to this because this message is for you. This journey was never only about your ex-soulmate realizing your worth. It was also about you remembering your own. Sometimes people awaken too late, and sometimes they awaken just in time to become better human beings because of what they have learned. Whether paths cross again or remain separate belongs to seasons beyond this story. What truly matters is the lesson that remains. Love should never be taken for granted. Gratitude should never be delayed. Honest hearts deserve to be valued while they are still present, not only after they have become memories. As this story reaches its ending, carry these words with you. Continue protecting your peace. Continue loving without losing your dignity. Continue forgiving without forgetting your value. Continue becoming the person I have called you to be. Your ex-soulmate's greatest realization was not simply that the relationship had ended. It was that they had finally encountered a love built upon patience, loyalty, humility, honesty, and quiet sacrifice, and they did not fully recognize its beauty until it was no longer theirs to hold. That truth will remain with them for the rest of their life. And for you, my beloved child, let this ending become the beginning of something greater, a heart that no longer questions its worth, a spirit that no longer seeks validation from delayed appreciation, and a future built upon the unshakable understanding that genuine love always begins with recognizing the priceless value already standing before you.